Shalom, welcome to the Jewish View. My name is Rabbi Nachman Simon with the Chabad House of Delmar, together with my co-host Mark Ronich of Statewide News Service and jbiztechphilly.com. And as you can see, he's now got a column in the Jewish press.
Yeah, it's a column that talks about how government relates to the Jewish community, or doesn't, as the case may be. So in this column, it talks about how it doesn't relate to the Jewish community, where kosher food is not a high priority for state officials in terms of wanting it at public venues such as the New York State Fair or the Saratoga Racecourse, which is having, which is under state auspices now. So. But with us today, speaking of government, I guess, religion and government, but is Rabbi Bernard Freilich, is the liaison to the Superintendent of the State Police. So welcome to the Jewish View. It's so good to have you here.
Thank you.
And what brings you, well, you're from Borough Park, right? And what brings you up to Albany?
Well, tomorrow, first of all, I'm in a meeting with the superintendent, but the main reason is that I'm going to be speaking to the new graduates. They graduate next week, New York State troopers, and I will be speaking to them about a lot of issues. They should know what goes on the roads and on the streets, and some religious issues.
And tell us what that might be.
Issues when there's an unfortunate accident or a death. They should know what about the issues of burial and blood and sheitel, yarmulkes, all these things that feel it's important.
And what should they know about that?
Well, first of all, that burial by us is on the same day. So just to expedite a little bit the
paperwork,
the more than the paperwork, where there's a crime scene usually when there's a death. And work with the community and work with the family. It's a community police relations. Both of us, they give us information, we give them information, so we help each other, and the families are helped at the same time. So there's communication. That's the main thing usually in police community relations is communication.
I first met you at the last state police graduation. And anyone with a beard and a yarmulke, I go up to with a microphone, and that's, so anyway, I'm sorry, but I introduced myself, and we got to chat a little bit, but there was no Jewish police graduates in the last graduating class. And I'm wondering, have you come across, or is it an oddity to have a Jewish police graduate?
Well, there's quite a few. The problem is, New York State Police, we're talking about 7,000 to 8,000 troopers and civilians. It's a big force, but as you can know, that New York City is much bigger. We're talking about 35,000. The issue comes up on Shabbos, because New York City Police, they can accommodate a police officer to go home earlier on Friday or not to come in on Shabbos, because their rotating is much bigger. In the state police, it's a little bit of a problem. The superintendent, the current superintendent, who happens to be a very, very good friend to the Jewish community in general, Joe D'Amico, and the former McMahon and all the before,
Preston Felton,
trying to see how we can accommodate them. And in the end, they work it out themselves between the troopers in the station where they're assigned to. So one helps out the other, and so anybody who wants to take the certain day off but when they come to me and they tell me, I would like to have my son become a state trooper, but you have to help me make sure that he doesn't work on Shabbos or on Yom Tov. I cannot tell him that. So that's where we have a little bit of a problem, that I cannot tell him that I can accommodate him.
You can't pull strings.
I can't pull. It's not even pulling strings. It just doesn't. It cannot work out. There's a certain amount of troopers in a certain time in a certain location.
Right.
There's a lot of them across. It's a big state.
Right.
And there's not that many that they can just tell them, okay, you can go home and somebody else will fill in.
Now, I understand in Rockland County, there's on a village police force or a town police force, I understand there's a couple from
Well, Ramapo Police, there is a few.
Oh, Ramapo Police.
Right, and then there's the sheriff from Rockland County. Again, how they accommodate. It's not easy. I mean, I'm not 100% sure that some of them said, okay, we're just going to sit here, we're not going to answer the phones, and we'll just, somebody will answer and we'll speak, and so somebody will get, it just doesn't work out that way.
No, it doesn't. I mean,
It doesn't work out. I don't know of anybody who is a Shomer Shabbos will be able to work for a police force across the state and assure us that they never work on a Shabbos. It's very hard.
Now, with Hatzolah, they have their gear with them in shul.
Right.
They have their walkie-talkies.
I want you to define it, Mark, because I mean, our
Hatzolah?
audience, you were using a lot of Hebrew words, Shomer Shabbos and Hatzolah. Shomer Shabbos are people
It's
who
Shabbos
observe
observant.
Shabbos observant, and Hatzolah is the volunteer Jewish ambulance service.
Right. So when they
right.
come to services at at least my synagogue in Brooklyn, they have their walkie-talkies or the vibrators and the pagers. So if it goes off, boom, they're in the ambulance. They're going, even on Shabbos and Yom Tov.
Because that's saving lives, and that is allowed.
Okay.
If you're out there to save lives, and as we know that our great sages said in the books, and it's not only in the Torah but also in the Gemara, that if you're here for saving life, you can do whatever. Shabbos is not the problem. Some communities have an issue with coming back, so they have a non-Jewish person driving them back from every call. But most of them do not. It's probably only Borough Park and Flatbush. I'm not sure Flatbush, but I know Williamsburg and Borough Park.
I grew up in
definitely.
Mill Basin in Brooklyn. So,
Okay.
Flatbush Park Jewish Center,
Right,
Rabbi
yes.
Halpern.
Oh, sure.
Okay, he was my rabbi.
Right.
So so that's where I'm just,
So that is allowed. Everybody does.
Yeah.
Across the board, including Muncie, including Monroe, everybody. They carry radios, and they carry the keys, and they're allowed to answer if there's an emergency, if an emergency comes up.
But if you're a state trooper, you can't do that because you have to just be on call. You may not have anything to do.
Right, exactly.
There may not be an emergency.
Right, it might not be. And there's another issue. There's another thing with state police. State police is the elite agency across the state, the paramilitary agency.
Right.
And they're a very powerful agency, and their training is just 6 months of training is unbelievable.
Well, don't tell Division of Military and Naval Affairs.
Well, Danish.
I'm just joking. That's
You're right,
okay.
I know that. But the Naval Affairs do not patrol the New York State.
Right.
But the state police is a very elite agency.
Yes, they
Then
are.
you have the sheriff's department, which is in the
Counties.
counties. And then you have the local police. I heard before there was some talk about combining county, local, back and forth. This is going on for years, and it doesn't work out. The facts are that most of them go through the 911 system. So when there is a call, 911 gets it, they just announce that there is a call, and they can see who's the closest. It could be state police, it could be sheriff, it could be the local police. So not everyone runs to every call. That's up to 911. You can call directly to the station too if you want to, but most people, as you know, 911 is the number. So to tell a state trooper or any other police agency across the entire state that you're not going to be working on Shabbos, that's impossible. So that's why, on the question why there isn't more, because it's just not feasible. And we cannot promise them.
So let me tell you a story that you may want to impart to the graduates. Rabbi Gluck, Edgar Gluck, who
Right.
I think is your predecessor.
Just met him yesterday, yeah.
Oh, you just met him for the first
Yesterday.
time?
No.
No. You just
know
saw
each other
him.
for years.
I thought so. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So but anyway, so he was your predecessor
Right.
with the state police. And he told me he got a phone call one time from the Clinton County Sheriff's Office.
Right.
And he said that they
That's the
stopped.
famous prison.
Well, now it is. But they stopped someone at the border.
Right.
And the person was in the county jail. So the person was an observant Jew and wasn't going to eat anything. And they said, well, we're holding a cheese sandwich up to the phone. Could you bless the cheese sandwich, Rabbi, and make it kosher so this guy could eat something? And he says, no, that's not the way to do it.
That's probably 40 years ago. They're much
Not
more
really.
updated. And they're much more updated today
So,
in knowledge.
But so he says, go to the Stewart's down the block, get an apple, a pear, and a
Right,
banana,
fruits.
and then he'll eat
Right.
it, and you'll be fine.
Right.
But the point is that this was something that maybe it goes beyond state police and maybe the county
It
police
goes to
force.
it really belongs
you
to
know.
the prison system, which is usually under the sheriff's
Right.
department. State police do not handle
Well, that's what I'm
with
saying.
the prison.
Maybe your teaching should go beyond
We are
state.
doing that.
You should go to counties
So that's
as
my
well.
next step. We are doing that. I mean, I'm going to tell you just 2 stories. I met a state trooper, and my grandson got married 2 weeks ago in Montreal, Canada. So I was driving up, and at one of the rest areas, I met a state trooper. So I go over to him, introduce myself. My name is Rabbi Freilich. He says, I know who you are because you were lecturing us at the academy. So, and he said, it was very informative. Thank you. Then I passed the border, and on the way back, the U.S. Customs saw my ID, and he says, Rabbi Freilich, I remember when you were by us. And speaking to which we do constantly. I was there half a year ago. And speaking to the U.S. Customs across the border and explaining them the same thing. I do this constantly and talking to them because I believe that the communication is extremely important. And if there's questions, I give them my cell number, and a lot of them do call, and if they have any questions on some issues. So it's working much better these days as far as knowledge.
What was the funniest story you ever got a phone call about?
Funniest?
Well, because I asked Rabbi Gluck, and the
I
cheese
do-
sandwich story was
I did have a funny story, is that I got a call that from Friday night, Shabbos night, at 2 o'clock in the morning, which I picked up phones because it was part of Hatzalah. And that was years ago. I was a coordinator of Hatzalah too. 2 o'clock in the morning, that her husband is missing. And he never came home. And she's very, very concerned that something happened to him. And at a time like that, we go out and start looking and seeing if we can find something. Where was he the last time? In shul. Fine, went to the shul is locked, there's nobody there, he's not here. Anyway, back and forth for 2-3 hours, everybody, Shamran Patrol, Hatzalah, looking every place we can look, and we can't find him. Went to the hospital, went to, made some phone calls. Did anybody see anyone? Called the police, everybody, nobody sees. Bottom line is that after a few hours, somebody decided to climb into the shul. The window was open to climb in the shul. Sure enough, he was sleeping on the bench. He fell asleep.
That's right.
That's why he never came up.
And they left him there.
That's why he never came home.
That's why they make those
They
benches
locked him
so
in.
hard.
Right, they locked him in, and that's it, and he was there. I don't think he even knew that they locked him in.
No,
he was still asleep. Because when he woke up, he was startled.
Uh-oh. You had half the town, half the neighborhood
So
looking
we
for
get
you.
all kinds of,
Yeah.
I mean, I get all kinds of calls. In all honesty, it's nonstop, 24 hours a day.
Now, I read something with the Sloatsburg rest area
Right.
on the Thruway. Did they have this meeting area?
Meeting,
They have this
Right, Mincha
politically correct.
Bigger correct,
Okay.
separation church and state.
Right, so they have to call it a meeting area, but
Right.
we all know that means Mincha Mara.
Right, that
davening.
means Mincha, but I'm going to add something soon.
Yes.
But I am fully involved in that. And
Yes, I saw something.
I do, before the summer, myself and Rabbi Abe Friedman and his brother Joel come to that meeting. Their father, may he rest in peace, was part of that process, and which I asked him to come in and be part of the
But
Mincha area.
it's open all year, isn't it?
Nope, it's only 9 weeks. Matter of fact, tomorrow night is the last night.
So what? Why? I mean, it's a meeting area. It's a corner in the Sloatsburg.
It's not a
rest area.
corner.
Oh, it's
So
a
that's
room?
why I'm trying to.
It's-
There's a new system there.
tell me.
And we had issues years ago because people used to come there and sell cholent, kugel.
Let me explain, I'm just thinking about our viewers that maybe
Right.
tune them into. Sloatsburg is on the way from New York City
It's north,
up to
the
northbound.
northbound.
North to the Catskills, to Monroe, very religious areas. So an observant Jew prays 3 times a day. One of the days is the afternoon service, which means afternoon before sunset. So if you're on the road and before sunset, you have to stop your car and stand up, and you're not going to do it on the side of the road. So Sloatsburg is very convenient.
And that's the mincha prayer.
The mincha, the
Mincha
afternoon,
and Mariv.
Right. And then after sundown, you
It's
do the
Mariv.
mariv,
Right.
the
right,
sunset.
which is the
So-
evening prayer.
So the state was very nice about it and saying we're going to designate an area, again, you know, in the middle of any of the throughway, you don't want to stand up in the middle of the restaurant, and again, the congregation, there's so many religious Jews that you have 10 people, then you became a whole quorum and a whole service. They says, well, we need place for that. So very nicely, I guess it was the state or the Thruway Authority gave a special area, and they even had a blue sign, as you see, you know, when it says exit, and, you know, and go off for the gas. So they may had a sign, mincha, which is in Hebrew, it's a Hebrew word, which means the afternoon service. So, and then they designated a place, and that's what Mark was saying, it was really on the outside of the parking lot there, and parking space, and
And people complained that it was the word
So,
mincha
so
because...
I'm going to go through the whole process
All right, go ahead.
as
Yes.
being involved on almost on a daily basis. So people came and complained. I mean, even the one who davened mincha there, they were bothered too much. Then somebody came
near
and
the
selling
parking
books.
lot because it was-
Somebody came selling books, and some other came for general tzedakah charities, and then there is some other sold some other things, and also the place we had before was on the grass on the bottom. As soon as you drive into the area on the side and the back, it wasn't
the side of the
fashion
parking
right.
lot.
So at that time, I got complaints from the state, and they told us, I'm sorry, we cannot continue with the Mincha Ma'ariv, with the meeting area, because it's just the stores are complaining, people are selling stuff, they don't pay taxes, there is other issues here, it just doesn't work out. So we sat down and we said, let's see what we can work out. So we had the state police there, and we had the Thruway Authority who came down, who were very nice about it and tried to accommodate. And the state police promised they will help us, that whatever issues there are, they'll be around. So I suggested something. We have the upstairs parking lot. Most of the people don't go upstairs. It doesn't have a roof.
Right.
It's hot in there. So let's go upstairs. And there's another there's another issue which the people have, is they usually go to use the bathroom. And if you park on the lower level,
Right.
you still have to go upstairs for the bathrooms.
Right.
So I said, let's use the upper level, and they can go straight into the bathrooms and wash their hands and come daven. So it was a very good idea. We designated a corner on the upper level, and there's space for about 200 cars.
Okay.
So people come there. There's no more selling, and that's what I put in the newspapers. No more selling anything.
Right.
Nobody goes for charity. No selling, nothing. Not even a soda. If you want a soda, you have to go inside and use the machine or go to the canteen. But otherwise, it's, thank God, working out very well. There's thousands of people are coming there, and the Thruway Authority has their person there who helps us out, and we help him. And thank God we're very successful.
So you're not
the last
going to
year.
build a room up there or
No.
something? No enclosure up there?
No.
Okay.
It's
I
only
thought
on
that's
the
what you were getting
in
to.
the outside. The enclosure is when it rains. There are two corners which the steps are, so people go into that.
Oh, okay.
And that's closed off. But in general, we're not going to do anything more than what the state allows us to do. We were talking about a tent, but it doesn't work out really. But
Now the Muslims, they pray, 6 times a day? 5 times a day. So are they taking advantage of this
that's
meeting
why,
room?
yes. One time we came there, and we saw Muslims, about 40 of them, doing their prayers on the floor. And there was pictures taken of it. And here the Jewish community was praying on this side, they were praying on that side.
I think
that was
that's-
very interesting.
I think it's marvelous.
It's
don't you?
marvelous.
Yeah.
It's great. Listen, anybody could come and pray. we just thank God as a Jewish community that we have a country like the United States who gives us the privileges that we should be able to continue with our religion.
So, as a side note, I think the Dunkin' Donuts there is kosher, or is there?
I don't know.
Is there some? One of the.
They put in some machines.
Oh, but I think one of the
I know what you're saying, but there
vendors
was a problem
with the
who's
hashgacha?
kosher, yeah. Who's
Yeah,
the
they're
kosher?
not sure if that's the right one. There is, we know there's two, in the Palisades, the middle rest area has
Yeah.
all the kosher stuff we need.
Okay.
And people can buy. There's Monroe, there's Muncie, there's plenty of places
Okay.
they can
So
buy
People aren't
food.
starving to
They're
death.
not, nobody's
no,
starving.
no, I can. No.
And nobody's starving. But I want to add one more
Yes.
thing, which we do, and we're going to do it probably in the next few weeks, is build a sukkah at the Thruway. So I'm not sure you know about that.
No.
Right at
Uh,
Sloatsburg?
No, it's at the Clifton Park area, right
Really?
above Albany. Every year I get a permit from the transportation, New York State Transportation Department, that we can build a sukkah over there, so that people who are come from
Yeah.
Montreal during the Yontiv, during the holidays, can stop there and eat there.
Are you working with the Clifton Park Chabad to do this?
Well,
Have
they
you
probably know about it,
Have you
but
contacted Rabbi Rubin?
I speak to Rabbi Rubin a lot.
Because you're
I
in
know.
his territory there.
Yeah, no, that's not. It's a state territory which we deal.
Yeah,
but
but
I speak to Rabbi Rubin a lot.
Okay.
I'm in touch with him.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I spoke to him last week
Because
because
his
I
son
needed a
run-
minion someplace.
His son runs the Clifton Park Chabad, so.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
you should
I'm going to notify him again.
And then at the Price Chopper on 155,
They have all
they have a
kosher.
sukkah there too.
Right.
Right in the parking lot. So
Right.
I
But
just-
this is right on the
I
way.
know, it's-
And
it's only the northbound.
it's a northbound, and
Right.
and you can go inside.
Right,
Women
but you
can
don't
go
have-
inside,
But you
and
don't
the
have
men are here.
Right, you don't have the southbound.
No,
sukkah
but
on
you just
southbound.
turn around.
Oh well, okay.
You turn again.
But the
What won't you do for a sukkah?
and then in the summer, we have the summer minion in Lake George. I don't know if you've ever
Right,
been up
I know
there,
that
but
too.
that's another.
Yeah, I was there already. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now-
and Rabbi Rubin is involved in that.
That's of
Yeah, I
course.
spoke to him last week, and I got that information. Somebody asked me. I wasn't sure what time
Well, you
the
can go
davening.
on my website, jbiztechvalley.com, and you could find out all the information that you need about all these
Right.
minyanim. And I'm going to put up about the sukkah in Clifton Park
Good.
once you tell me all the details.
100%.
So
Don't
we'll
question
work
about it.
on
We're
that.
going to have a lot of things that you'll be able to
Beautiful.
write in the
Okay.
future because there's always something else happening.
That's great.
Um,
And I wanted to ask you, when you this is not a volunteer position with the liaison with the state police.
Well, at time, 16 years I worked for them and I was in a management position. But then I retired with pension. And this is more or less volunteer for the state police clergy liaison. As we say, I put in so many years of work in there,
Yeah.
so it's something that I feel it's important to continue. And I do most of their public relation work with the Jewish community, and we just paid a visit to Troop C, Fleischmann's, New York, a big community.
Yep.
You know, the hotel, the Oppenheimer's Hotel, and Hatzalah is there. So I'm trying to accommodate and trying to continue that type of relationship. I'm also the clergy liaison for New York City Police Department, Department of Transportation, Chief of Transportation, which includes highway and all kinds
and that's
of...
volunteer also?
That's all volunteer.
unpaid?
All unpaid.
Do you get reimbursed for gas or tolls?
Well, yes. If I request it, they do. But sometimes let's say if you go to Albany, it's not strictly for them, so it's...
I just want to ask.
Yeah.
I was
No,
just
no, no,
curious
it's-
how
it's-
this, you know. But
it's-
that's marvelous that you would put in your.
I put in tremendous effort
You know,
into this.
and your age, I got two different things when I looked up. It was 67 or 63. I wasn't sure.
What, age?
Yeah.
63.
3. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
63.
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Baruch Hashem, yeah.
May you live to be 120, right?
Yeah, right,
That's
Shem,
what
all
they
of us.
say. That's right. So are you, so what's your involvement when you, with the state police beyond giving these talks and educating the state troopers? What else do you do for the state police?
Well, I set up meetings between state police and communities in general, so they should be familiar what kind of community it is, who's in charge, you know, and just sit together and, like I said, have the communication in case there's an incident. And there's a lot of things we do, and I did the last few weeks, I arranged for the state police to send there to have the seatbelt convincer
Yeah.
to show the
convincer,
kids
yeah.
how important a seatbelt is. They went out to a couple of camps, to a couple of colonies, and the kids, and they should know that they're not the drivers, they're kids, but they still need seatbelts.
Right.
So that's important.
So do you have, I mean this respectfully, I'm not asking this,
Sure.
but do you have like a badge, or do you, like Rabbi Gluck took me in his car and it was like all decked out with lights and all these other things, I mean gadgets like galore, and I was like totally impressed with this. And I mean, I have this lasting
That's
impression.
not my style. That's not my style.
had the light in the window
Matter of
and-
fact, everybody calls me the old man because I drive at the speed limit, And no, that's not exactly my style. That's not exactly what I need to huff and puff, But what I do is I'm trying to this
So
substance.
so do you have a badge? Do you
Well,
have
I
some?
used to have when I was working for 16 years with the
Okay,
state
but
police.
not now,
Had an
so-
ID, no. I
Now
don't
it's
have-
just I'm
Just,
I'm Rabbi Freilich.
Yeah,
That's
they all
you
know me,
need.
so it's not something that it's not something that I need.
Okay, so
You know?
and they call you when there's
They call me when
there's a
there's
death on the
right.
road, So
I work with Yankee Meyer Misaskim, and so we have a pretty established relationship, and it's a great thing. And people, I don't think people understand the debt and the work that goes in to make sure that we have this type of relationship. It's hard work. It's constantly being in touch, constantly calling, constantly updating yourself. There's a lot of changes, knowing who the new commanders are, who the new chiefs are,
Right.
who the new bosses are. It's, it's a 24-hour job.
which is commendable that you want to live it and breathe it and have it as part of your soul. I mean, it's
Because
just,
I believe that if you know how to deal with it and you're professional enough, there's a lot you can accomplish.
yes,
And
there is.
I'm just going to tell
Yeah.
Rabbi here that he's with Chabad, that one of my biggest brachas were from all the Rebbes, but the Lubavitcher Rebbe told me once when I came to him is that what he told me, the bracha was that I should have Chuas Chein b'yad melochem v'sorim. So you'll explain it in English. And that's exactly, and it was written. So
Well,
this
for-
is what I feel I
For
have.
our audience, are you going to explain it?
Yeah, the Chuvas Chen, he's very, he has grace, that he's very happy. Can we say it that way?
Well, Chuas Chein would mean is that they should, it's like that they feel comfortable with you.
Yeah.
That the government feels comfortable that when you're there and you say something, they accept it.
Okay. So how many superintendents were you working with over the years?
I would say about 5, 6.
6. Okay. And which one was your favorite?
Oh,
Uh-oh.
There you go.
Joe D'Amico,
I happens
of
to be
course,
Joe
no.
D'Amico.
Yeah.
He's the greatest guy around. I mean,
But
there's
you
nothing.
and Preston Felton were pretty close.
I was close to Preston. I was close to John Melville, the current the current commissioner of
Corrections?
he's the commissioner of emergency services in New York State.
How much do you get involved with correctional services? Because there are a lot of rabbis who go to the Rabbi Simon's one of them.
Right. That's why I'm not that much involved because there's always rabbis or clergy involved with the correctional facilities.
So how much can you help me with getting kosher food kiosk in the state
Well,
fair?
there is an organization, and there's organization work on that. I mean, Dror is working. I don't know if you ever heard of that organization, DROR.
No.
It's in Brooklyn, and their job is they make sure that the prison systems get their kosher
But
food.
what about state fair?
State fair is.
How
I don't know what is the issue getting kosher food and stuff. Why can't just somebody get a permit and set it up?
I gave the state fair officials names of 5 caterers,
Right.
kosher caterers, from Yankee Stadium, City Field, Giants Stadium, Meadowlands, and 5-star caterers you must know in Teaneck.
Right.
And they said they contacted them. The owner said they didn't contact them. State Fair says they did. and it's like this, and they're not communicating.
I
At
think
one
you should
time-
go through the governor's office, and that'll be, do it 1, 2, 3.
I went through Commissioner Ball, I went through Troy Waffner from
Right,
the State Fair, and it's like this. It's like, we'll put a conference call together with 5-star caterers, they have a truck, they want to do it, and it's like, they sent me the forms. It's like, why are you sending it to me? It has to go up to them. It's like,
Right.
it's this way. Then they
Probably
said,
just red tape. I think you can break it through. I don't.
I've been working 6 years on this, they said this year that they had inquiries from pizza place in like Rochester or Buffalo, probably Rochester, and they just didn't fill out the application or something. I mean, it was like, there's no impetus on the part of the State Fair to be proactive and to say, hey, look, I understand you're interested. We didn't get your application yet. Are you going to send it? Something like that to.
My question is there other religious groups are requesting
It's
to
not.
have, let's
It's
say,
not religion. It's cultural. There's an
cultural.
international food court.
Right.
And they have non-kosher deli. They got Polish. They got Chinese. They got
Right.
all these other
They should have
foods,
kosher.
and they don't have any kosher food. And there are companies, Strictly Kosher, and others that want to come up to the State Fair. They see it's a 12-day extravaganza, and I see observant Jews at the State Fair over the years. I've been going since 1980, and they
Right.
go, and they have two strollers with babies and 1 stroller with food. So, because they have no place to eat.
It's probably also not everybody buys. We have a problem in New York State. Is it only OU? Is it okay? And is it this? Is it that organization giving hashgacha? Who's the hashgacha? So it becomes an issue in general if people are really going to buy there.
But if it's good enough for City Field, and
Whatever
Yankee
is good enough
Stadium,
for Fairy Field should be okay.
Should be okay.
Should be okay. I'll after the show, I'll give you a name who you're going to call, and hopefully you'll be able to.
I think having Rabbi Freilich call is meaning a lot more than
No,
Mark
I will
Rovich
tell
calling.
him that you're going to call.
Okay,
I think
but
we're
anyway,
gonna-
thank you very much for being on the
Thank you,
show. I
Rabbi
really
Freilich,
appreciate
for continued good work and with Hatzlacha, with success, and with good health.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
much success.
Thank you.